All right, as we pick up on today's session with Star Trek Navajo, the crew of the Navajo is currently heading to the Uvaris system, where they believe that the current civilian researchers um, from the Inkaran medical facility, as well, our medical research facility, as well as several civilians who are currently were being protected by the Maquis from the Serenity Prime system that was in the DMZ. On your way, just several light years out, you picked up three Orion destroyers leaving the system, headed for the Retra colony, which is roughly about 30 light years away. With that, I think we'll kick it off on the either the bridge or the conference room. I guess that'd be your choice.
Since we got all that information on the bridge, we were probably there trying to quickly make a decision about which way to go. So start us off. Commander Rye, would you pull up a tactical display of the region and plot the potential course of the Orion vessels.
You're roboting there, Captain.
Sorry, driving. Anyway, I'd asked Commander Rye to bring up a tactical map of the sector with potential core, and Vogel can help with that, plotting possible courses for the Orion ships, and plotting locations of all the Starfleet assets in the sector.
Aye, Captain.
Aye, sir.
Give me a reason con roll system by these ship sensors plus science, difficulty 2.
Reason con, you say?
Yes.
Is that momentum what we have from last
That's
time?
what you ended with last session.
All right, I'll use it. Turn on my bold, turn on my caution. Is this like a plotting course, like for astro navigation or astrophysics?
Yeah, you're trying to plot the course of the 3 Orion ships that left.
All right, cool. We will fish.
And you said sensor science, correct, for the ship?
Correct. Which the ship will roll 2 dice.
Dang.
Oh, she missed me.
All right, I got a bonus from my untapped. I believe I get another bonus from somewhere too.
How much momentum is that?
5. It was a div 2 roll. So.
Yeah, then I have a 2 bonus as well.
You want to use it for anything?
Depends what information we get first.
I'll just go back to the star map to kind of show you guys. There we go. Currently, you're there. The enemy ships are put a little circle. That's their current position.
And just to brain me here, could you explain like about how far time wise those 2 points are?
Time wise,
Yeah, because this isn't going to do me much good. But it's going to take us 30 minutes. I'm in Texas. We talk in times. How long will it take to get from point A to point B?
well, they're currently 5 years out. You're doing a max speed of warp factor 9.8. Time wise, they are currently about a day away.
A little bit less than a day.
Thank you.
If they maintain their where they're currently at, you would essentially, I'm not going to do the progressive theorem here, but essentially you would have to alter course and you would probably intercept him somewhere over here. They are currently headed essentially over. I will move you guys kind of over to that system, colony system over here. Is their current course, is where they're headed towards.
And I think the question we were having is there another Starfleet vessel that can intercept them, or should we do it ourselves?
Yeah.
I think that was the big question from last week.
Yeah.
Will another ship get there in time? I think is the question. If we were to try to maintain our heading to Uvaris.
For a momentum.
I got a bonus, so
Right.
we'll
So yeah,
earn one of mine.
Yeah. Yes, you do have Starfleet assets in the area that could intercept them before they reach the colony. If they're able to do that.
Are
Yeah.
those,
Go ahead.
do those assets have the combat capability to take on those Orion ships?
I will let you guys make the tactical thing here. So there's two other ships, and it will be the Artemis and the Tiananmen. One is a Miranda class, the other one is an Excelsior class. It is pollen. They are currently about 10-ish light years from the Reacher system, to whereas the Orion Pirates are about 20. So they would easily be able to intercept them. No matter which engagement you do, either side is going to be outnumbered to the Orions. So the Orions will have a slight upper hand in the situation. Now, granted, you did not detect the D7 within that little armada that's headed towards the Reacher system.
Sure. But out of character, I'm thinking of a Miranda and Excelsior. That's a pretty even match. What do you guys think?
Well, I guess here the decision here that I'm seeing is we could have them intercept them and still chase them, so it would be a 3-on-2, I believe.
It'd be a 3-on-3. There's
3-on-3, so it'd be more of an even fight in terms of numbers. We could have them intercept, and then our ship goes to the planet, which would, I guess, be the infiltration mission. Or we try to intercept them. We ask those two starships or one of them to go to the planet and do the infiltration mission.
You also, I'll remind you, you also have Tolin there, who is head of a Maquis cell. So you also have
The
other
Maquis could
resources.
go. Yeah. Could the Maquis intercept them?
Do we really want to trust the Maquis to this?
That's a really good question.
Unsupervised?
Yeah.
The captain would not be comfortable with trusting the Maquis to this unsupervised, especially after what Tolan pulled on Lucera Station. But that D7 is the real X factor there because, I mean, Mirandas are pretty tough little combat ready ships.
We could have the Maquis try to intercept them and the two Starfleet ships intercept them, so they wouldn't be unsupervised necessarily.
Well, the only thing is we don't exactly know what the Maquis assets in the area are. That would be we'd have to ask Tolan for that.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
And he might not know. I mean, they work on the cell structure, like terrorists do.
Well, and even if he did know, the odds of him actually telling us are not that great.
And we do have to bring up that trust issue.
Indeed. It would seem that the decision would be is that should we go after those ships ourselves, allow the two Starfleet ships to go after them. I think that's the decision, because if we don't go after them ourselves, then I would assume that we would want to go to the planet and see if the D7 is there and potentially rescue those hostages.
The colony, what type of planetary defenses or orbital defenses do they have?
They have none.
Joy.
Alternatively, Captain, it might be possible to dispatch runabouts to continue on to Yavaris, if nothing else than to scout for that D7, while the Navajo moves to intercept the Orion ships.
Mr. Vogel, you are reading my mind, which is maybe disturbing for you because it's a little scary in there.
Just to clarify, you're suggesting splitting the party?
It's Star Trek, it's fine.
What they said. No, I was thinking, I was having the same thoughts of setting a team by runabout to the colony, and then I'm thinking the same thing Vogel is.
But if the D7 is there, would the runabout be any match for the D7?
No, the runabout would have to run.
Well, then why?
Then at that point, then they could get away, or they could, I don't know, they could kill the colonists.
Yeah, that would just show our hand. Yeah.
But the goal is we send a runabout. The goal would be a covert infiltration, attempt to sneak in. So whether the D7 is there or not.
How many colonists are there, though? Do we know how many? Do we know how many colonists are there, GM? Do we know that?
Over 500.
Yeah, so there's no way a runabout could deal with that.
That feels like too big of a risk.
No, but we could get Tolan to send. Tolan's got to have some transports. Hell, we could send a scout. We could send the scout team by runabout.
But again, transports and a runabout against the D7?
Not going to last.
Yeah.
Again, the goal would be to send the runabouts as a scout party see if what we're looking for really is there, not to engage the pirates. I mean, obviously, a runabout's not going to have the troop complement necessary to invade that place.
The runabout mission would be more about trying to locate Dera for capture.
What if we did it the other way around? Kitted out our runabouts for combat duty, and sent the runabouts to help the other two starships with the Orions.
Mm.
They might not have the speed to keep up, though.
Yeah, they're not going to be fast enough to keep up with that kind of starship combat.
I don't think they have the speed of the Navajo, so I don't think they'd ever catch the Orions. Oh yeah, I do have one more bonus. If we had any other questions about the role here.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just generally asking if anybody has any other questions.
Oh, you're wanting to use the momentum.
Yeah, I have one more bonus. So.
Yeah, what we have to assume, right, is if we go to the planet that the D7 is there, right? You have to assume that. If it's not there, then all right, things seem to be a bit easier. But you'd have to assume that it's there.
But we have to plan
as if it's there.
Yeah. Which is going to make it rough for any ship we send there.
Yeah.
I think we should continue on to the colony and send the other ships after the Orion.
Well,
we got to get those civilians.
Just so you know, it's not a colony; it's a former abandoned Cardassian research
center by the Obsidian Order, right?
Yes, what information you gathered. The research outpost was used to supposedly, it was never confirmed, but made bioweapons. All you know is that potentially there could be your kidnapped researchers from the one medical station or medical research station, as well as the colonists from Serenity Prime.
Yeah, see, my problem there is that base is maybe what we're looking for is there. Maybe the people that we're trying to rescue is there. Well, we've got a colony that is more likely than not about to be attacked, and whether we go full Kirk and try to jump the Orions by ourselves, or we send we get the other ships in the area to help us. That colony and protecting that colony has almost got to be a higher priority.
Yeah,
because we know that there are people in danger there, and as long as we don't tip our hand that we know where this former Cardassian facility is, those colonists have been there for a while. I mean, those captives have been there for a while. There's no reason to believe that they're going to get moved if we don't show up there in a timely manner. That doesn't mean we should delay unnecessarily. But I think we have to prioritize the colony that we know. Yeah, because how many people are at this colony?
500 or so.
That's
Which colony? Are you talking about the Reacher colony or the ones that the Maquis prisoners?
the Maquis prisoners. That's about 500 of
It's
them.
over
That's
500. Over 500.
Yeah.
All right.
Plus the
And
researchers,
then,
you're plus 550 essentially.
okay. And
And
the
then
colony that's in danger is how many?
Oh, tens of thousands.
Yeah. So I hate to go Vulcan on it, but
But you guys are
Like-
you're forgetting. So you do have two other Starfleet assets that can intercept them if they're given advanced warning.
the presence of two Starfleet vessels might scare off these Orion attackers. Do they really want to go toe to toe with two Starfleet vessels?
Got a point
depends
there.
on what depends on whether or not the odds are in their favor. If I remember what Kira said last week, or the GM said the last time we played, is those Orion destroyers are what, scale 4?
They're cruisers.
I think
so- yeah,
I think I do have a question for my bonus now.
okay.
Is there any signs of a cloak with the Orion ships?
You're actually probably too far out to. I won't let you spend it, but I'll just say this: you're too far out to really gauge any tachyon traces because you're over 5 years late. This is long range sensors, so it's just like a blip on your sensors.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, and you're identifying what you see by the warp signature. Oh, there's 3 Orion cruisers, so these are essentially the size of like a Connie or Miranda or slightly bigger type starship.
Yeah.
Now,
I was seeing if maybe we could, if through bonus I could get it. Nope, that's fine.
yeah,
The X factor here is the Maquis. They could help us in either instance. It's really dependent upon how much help we want from them and whether or not they actually can assist us.
Keep in mind, Maquis raiders are generally not that much bigger than our runabouts.
That's true. But if there are Maquis raiders with 2 Starfleet vessels at the colony, it comes down to whether or not it is profitable for these Orion raiders to engage in combat at that point. Also, if we have Maquis involvement in this infiltration mission that we're doing, perhaps that could be helpful. But again, the question that I have about the infiltration mission is, if we infiltrate, what do we do after that? Are we there to sabotage the forces that are there, so that way there's nobody that can do anything, and then we're waiting for reinforcements, we're waiting for transport off of the planet? That's a rather precarious situation where you're just sort of sitting there waiting. Unless
The point was well made about that. Just sending runabout.
or
It was an idea.
are we infiltrating to essentially rescue the hostages, and then we're asking the Maquis, after we've done that, after we've secured the area, are we then asking the Maquis to evacuate those 500 plus people?
Well, I think since we've rejected the idea of sending runabouts after the hostages, then that's gonna be less of a infiltration mission and more of a combat mission.
Well, yeah,
Especially if you're right about the D7.
yeah. I mean, it comes down to like what type of infiltration, right? Like, are we infiltrating to learn, or are we infiltrating to disable them and then give the go signal where the Maquis can come in and get the hostages out? Like, there's variables there that I think we can work with. Or do we? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I think we just need, because that sounds like a higher level planning. I think we
Yeah.
just need to make a decision, and then we can start planning which way we're going.
Mm-hmm. I guess the question, the unanswered question is, what can Tolin provide us? I think that would help with the decision.
Yeah, I think there's two things the captain needs answers for. Are the Starfleet vessels willing and able to get there? And then, if we're going to use Tolin at all, what can he provide?
Well, I'm not terribly concerned about the Starfleet vessels being willing to get there. We've determined they're within 10 light years, and all we got to do is tell them, they're Starfleets. All we got to do is tell them, hey, colony with tens of thousands of people. That'll take care of the willingness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I guess it's are they able? Time wise, are they able to get there?
Yeah,
I don't remember if that was answered or not.
Yeah, the GM said that the other starships were 10 light years away and the Orions were 20 light years away. So they got plenty of time. Even an old Miranda and old Excelsior class still has plenty of time to get there. As much as I want to go after those hostages, I don't like sending those other two ships when the odds are stacked against them that much. Especially with the idea these captured scientists and colonists at this former Cardassian facility. Like I said, they're not going anywhere. Odds are. But even if they were, there's 550 of them compared to tens of thousands, plus all the lives on a pair of Starfleet, Starfleet ships. Like I said, I hate to go full Vulcan on it, but if you do the math, I think we need to go take care of those Orions with the help of the other two ships, and then get back on the mission. Now, Tolan's not going to like it. But he doesn't get a vote.
Terrorists don't get a vote as far as I'm concerned.
What are your orders, sir?
Well, add a character. Does anyone have a review? But is it? I mean, as a group, as players, we should at least have a consensus or a majority on this before the captain says, "Hey, we're going to go after these Orions."
Vogel would probably elect to intercept the Orion raiders.
Solak?
I mean, Solak would agree with you on that, Captain. The safety of the colony is the priority. I think he would just be curious. He would just be curious as to what the Maquis would be able to offer in assistance.
Well, and we may let them help with when we go to the Cardassian facility,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll talk to Tolan about that. But yeah, we got to go, and this may cost us the hostages, but tens of thousands versus 500.
The other thing to consider here, Captain, is the trick, a diversion. It's intentionally designed to lead us away from the research facility, allowing them time to escape.
Assuming they know that we've uncovered their position.
It is simply a suggestion.
Yeah. We could set a runabout to sit in the edge of that system and just keep an eye on it.
could,
Just
and then we'll know whether or not they're running or not. But then if they run, what then? Does the runabout pursue?
I think that would have to be that'd have to be a decision made by the boots on the ground. Can they pursue? Probably not a good idea, but can they follow safely, or is the best they can do is track their course?
If you decide on that, Solok would volunteer for that.
Because they're going to combat. You want me to send my chief of engineering on a spy mission?
Yeah, none of this is an easy choice.
Solok's a Vulcan. Spycraft comes very naturally to us.
They don't like to lie. It's part of spycraft.
Spycraft is about observation
And deception.
Well, that's where I come in.
Deception is a different element of it, but spying in general is about watching and gaining information. I say this because my father-in-law was a spy, and that's what he would say.
Fair enough.
The James Bond stuff is nonsense.
Half the job is sitting around watching around. That's how it is.
You're watching something. You're trying to disseminate what the pattern is of it, and then once you figured out the pattern, you're relaying that information to the key people, who then make decisions on what to do with it.
Yeah, my grandpa was an operative in the Cold War, so yeah.
And there you go. Same. My father-in-law was an operative in the Cold War, so that's what they did.
That's fair. I'm more used to undercover law enforcement operations.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit different.
A little flashier.
But he would. I mean, I'm saying this out of character. He would volunteer for it because he would see that one, there would need to be somebody in a rank capacity to be able to make the decision that you were talking about. And then the other thing here is that if anything were needed on the actual runabout, like in terms from an engineering standpoint, he would be able to provide that.
Yeah, still not comfortable sending my chief engineer in the middle of combat. My inclination is to send the XO.
GM, would a sensor probe be able to scout the Uvaris system, like a long-range probe?
You would have to get close enough. You have to be within a couple light years.
And then the probe can't pursue if they leave.
Yeah, it's pretty much gravity assist and thrusters. So,
and by the time we got close enough, we might as well just do that job ourselves.
Might as well do it ourselves. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess my question was, did we have like a long-range warp-capable probe?
You'd have to kind of either do some sort of engineering task. I'm not aware that you carry them, so I'll probably say no. But you can drop a probe while at warp and let it coast for a bit before its own little bubble collapses, essentially.
Well, why don't we send the XO, someone from Solok's staff and someone from Vogel's staff, to just sit on the edge of that system and keep an eye on it, and then join the other Starfleet vessels in defending the colony. Like I said, I'm not super big on sending my department heads on an away mission when I'm about to take the ship into combat.
I mean, my question is this: are you wanting to talk to Tolin to see what assets he could help with before you really commit to any kind of strategy? Because
That would be my suggestion. That
at
was
this
what
Yeah,
I was
point,
probably.
suggesting
I
earlier.
will spend threat and force some hands here in a minute. So
Should probably reach out to Tolan, Captain.
Well, let's see what the trader has to say.
you going to the quarters, or are you having him brought up to the bridge?
I'll have him brought up to the bridge. I don't want to take the entire bridge crew there. And I want them in the conversation so they can all contribute to the discussion.
I will assume that there's a Starfleet security personnel, like kind of standing outside the turbo lift. As after a few minutes, he's escorted to the bridge and says, "You've asked to see me, Captain."
Yes, Mr. Tolan. I need to know what assets your Maquis cell has in the region that we can use for operations.
I need to know what I'm committing my friends at.
Well, there's some information gathering we need to get done while the Navajo assists with taking down some Orion pirates that are about to attack one of our colonies in the area.
My immediate disposal, I have a ship and a couple fighters. It's not much, but we've known to hit targets bigger than what you would normally think we shouldn't be able to handle.
Well, you might do with what you have. Sorry, go ahead, Solon.
No, I was going to say, in character, what size is the ship that you have at your disposal?
It's about 120-ish meters in length. Enough to fit a couple shuttles and 50 crew.
Solak says, that may be enough to deter the Orions, Captain. That would be 3 ships plus 2 Maquis fighters against 3 Orion vessels. These show of force might be enough to deter them from attacking the colony.
Perhaps. If it doesn't, Mr. Tolan, how comfortable are you with sending your people up against Orion destroyers?
Said 3 of them?
There would be 2 Federation Starfleet vessels that would assist.
And what's the timeline we're looking at for engagement?
And we give him the timeline of when the Starfleet vessels would be there, and then when the Orion vessels would intercept them.
Oh yeah, I do have this is a GM question here. Are you having them outside of the Reacher system, or are you trying to intercept them somewhere in the middle, just past the Aurora Nebula?
I guess it would be where. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we should probably try to intercept them the earliest we could.
Yeah, it would be basically wherever the Maquis vessels and the Federation vessels can meet up before the Orion vessels reach the colony.
Vogel, how confident are you on your predictions of the Orion's course? I'd hate for our forces to miss the Orions.
I'm confident in my calculations, sir.
Do you wish to use that bonus to figure out how long it would take them to reach the colony at their current speed?
Yes.
Seven days.
Are we?
3 hours, 12 minutes.
So that's for them. And then I guess the question is, where would be the interception point for both of our ships if they were to travel at their max speeds?
The issue you have to contend with is essentially we would probably have to say you have to just pick a spot somewhere on the map where you want to have the interception. Because they're kind of following. I'll just
Are
freehand.
we factoring in the top warp speed of the Maquis vessels?
They're kind of going on this trajectory. The Orion, that's their current course path, is what you estimate. Tolin has not told you where his stuff is at.
I guess we could just say, could we intercept them like right here?
Right. I'm just trying to calculate where we could conceivably be. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably what thematically would make sense.
Yeah, like we're saying, like could you get your
Yeah.
Maquis vessels there in time by when our Starfleet vessels are there, and when the Orions will be ready for interception?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean,
who's
to be
traveling warp
honest,
12?
that's not what. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. They got so the 7 days one. That's the Orions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we're there with time to spare.
So they
Basically.
could get there. Like the Artemis could be there in 2 days. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, so we could intercept them probably on the other side of the nebula.
Probably.
Okay, so I'll phrase it like this. Sir, there are several possible interception points. I calculate that we could have a interception point within 3 days if our Starfleet ships travel west of the nebula, or we could intercept in approximately 5.5 days on the closer to the colony site, sir.
Mr. Tolan, how about your forces? When could they be at those points?
My question is this, Captain. I could have my forces probably closer would be better. The further out you go towards the future colony, that be difficult for them to get into position. But I want reassurances that your Starfleet friends will try to take my ship and, well, my crew captive.
I anticipated that you would request that. I will use what political capital I have with the other ship's captains to encourage them not to take your crew into custody. I'm going to have to call in a lot of favors to do that, to get that done. But if we're to, well, let me be frank with you, Mr. Tolan. I have two choices that me and my command staff are considering. Intercepting the Orions headed toward the Reacher colony with their tens of thousands of vulnerable civilians, or following up on the lead that we have on the possible location of the captives. If I just send Starfleet assets to intercept those Orions, they're outnumbered. And I would need to take the Navajo there to back them up. If you could provide the Starfleet assets with backup to give them a numerical edge over the Orions, then I could take the Navajo to this former Obsidian Order facility and determine if both of our kidnapped people are present and to stage a rescue. So the question is, are you going to give me the help that I need so that I can afford to not reinforce the Starfleet vessels at the Reacher colony?
Aren't there other Starfleet vessels besides those two in this, near this neck of this woods that could be brought
Not
in?
within range. Not within range, Mr. Tolan. If I
Looking at
had other
this map,
Starfleet assets in range, I wouldn't have bothered you with this question.
I understand that, Captain, but looking at this, I don't think I would do you any good. We would, if the Navajo and my ship would intercept them before your other two ships could arrive in time. Looking at this map, tactically, it would try to intercept them as soon as possible would be advantageous for us instead of waiting for help. Because even if I'm following my gut here, Captain, I think the longer we wait to go into that system, the worse chance we are of getting our people back.
You are suggesting that we go after that we go to the former research facility.
That's what my gut's telling me, and it's never been wrong.
And I am trying to create an option that will make that doable. So again, are you willing to send your forces to reinforce the Starfleet vessels at the Reacher colony?
They wouldn't be able to get there in time. I hate to say it, Captain, my ships are maybe just as fast or slightly faster, but knowing the position they're at currently, they would not be able to intercept in time, manner for you to be of any use.
I understand. Mr. Tolan, you may want to step out of range of the front view screen. Ops officer, get me the captains of the other two Starfleet vessels on comms, please.
So I only have one token. I don't have a token for the other captain, so because we've only used it by name.
That is very true. Something the GM's got to create.
I'm just letting you guys know.
We'll just have to use our imaginations.
All that I could do is
You always just drag a blank one in there.
that's what I'm trying to do. If I could actually, why is it not in the MISC? We'll just say that's the current whatever officer is in charge of the TM at the moment.
He's sideways on my view screen.
There he goes. He's in the correct position now. On screen appears the two captains.
Good day, captains. I need your assistance with the matter. I think you'll be willing to help. We're currently tracking 3 Orion destroyers headed towards the Reacher colony at about warp 8. They're approximately 20 light years from the colony. Unfortunately, we're also tracking a time-sensitive lead on about 550 captured colonists, and scientists captured from various facilities around the sector. My question for you two is: could you intercept the Orions before they get to the Reacher colony? And do you think your 2 ships can handle 3 Orion destroyers?
The TNMN captain speaks up and says, I think we can get there in time to offload some of our supplies. Though, what sort of timetable are we looking at, Captain?
Perone will give him the estimates that his staff gave him on when the Orions should arrive. Oh, I've got it right there in the chat window. We expect at their current speed that the Orions will arrive at the Reacher colony in just over 7 days.
Tian can kind of looks away, kind of has, I guess, his con officer do some mental gymnastics, nods. Well, we can be at the Reacher colony in 3 days easily. Plenty of time to set up whatever defenses we need there, though it may be a tough fight for us alone to deal with 3 Orion destroyers.
Perone looks at the captain of the Artemis. How about you, Captain?
You want me to roleplay it, GM?
You usually play Captain Nolan, so you can go ahead.
Nope, that is true. Just ran the numbers, Captain. I believe we could be there also. The Artemis is a fine ship. I estimate we could pull our weight in a fight, should the need arise.
The real
With
question is,
assistant, of course.
if are the two of you together comfortable with taking on the 3 Orion vessels, freeing us up to rescue the hostages that the Orions currently hold?
As long as the Artemis is able to be there in time, I think the TMN will be more than capable of pulling her own weight against these Orions.
It'll be a tough fight, Captain, but I'm confident our 2 ships' combined firepower should be enough to repel those 3 ships. We'll take some damage, but we should be all right.
Very well. Then, to ensure that the responsibility of this falls on me as the senior captain of the sector, I'm ordering you two to take your vessels and defend the Reacher colony. I'll inform the Admiral and request that he send additional reinforcements, but they won't arrive in time.
Understood, Captain.
Understood.
Very well. Thank you, gentlemen. Good hunting. Navajo out. You're welcome, Mr. Tolin. I may be unemployed when this is over. Hopefully you'll have a job for me. The captain is joking, by the way. It's obvious in his body language that he's joking. Very well, Mr. Vogel. Set us a course for the former Cardassian research station. See if you can find us a course that'll keep us in their blind spot as long as possible.
Understand, sir. This is what I live for.
Tactical, I'm going to want battle drills anyway. Between now and then, we need to be ready for a surprise attack by a cloaked vessel.
All right. What we're doing, I'm gonna do an opposed task roll, essentially to make sure that the 3 destroyers don't notice you entering the system. My question is, how are you essentially trying to avoid detection getting in? Is there anything like some sort of advantage you're trying to create, or doing some tricky maneuvering and altering your subspace bubble?
What I am thinking is I would probably take a course that brings me close to the systems that are on the way to use the interference from those planetary systems to hide our approach.
Probably also wouldn't hurt if we could modulate our warp signature to look like some kind of a freighter passing through the area as well. If we're hitting that many systems, then it wouldn't look suspicious.
Yeah, game mechanic wise, I guess that would be called silent running.
No, because the silent running is powering down everything except for like a couple of systems.
Yeah, we're going to be running it at almost maximum warp, so...
You could make it a trait for stealthy approach. Or fly casual, one of the two.
Mr. Selleck, I wonder if you couldn't dirty up our warp signature enough so that we didn't look like a Starfleet vessel.
I can attempt to do so, sir. The only thing I would say, though, is that if we try to disguise ourselves as a freighter, but we are clearly going at a speed faster than most freighters can go, that will tip our hand.
I didn't say it was a perfect plan. But we can slow down when we get within sensor range of the facility.
I can attempt to adjust our warp signature so that way it can be dirtied up, as you say.
Give me a control plus con assisted by the ship's engines plus con. Solak will be assisting on this. You guys will be setting the difficulty since this is an opposed task.
Okay.
I can roll.
How is
that.
how is Solak assisting? Is it control engineering or control con or something else?
Well, the control engineer will be fine.
Sorry, Vogel, did you have a question?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm gonna use 3 momentum for 4 dice. Try to make this as difficult as possible.
And Joe, you're rolling for the ship?
Correct. I heard
Thank you.
engines con for the ship.
Correct.
All right.
Helm ops focus. GM helm ops for a focus or something else?
I was thinking it would be probably something else. Because this is not really standard operating procedure.
Astronavigation.
You're not really navigating. Well, kinda. I guess I'll take astronavigation as it.
I was going to say, if we're slingshotting around a couple of stars on the way in to disguise our path.
You be careful, avoid time travel paradoxes there. So
It's just using the interference from the systems to hide our approach. We're not slingshotting nothing. Yeah, I'll roll
Poor
for
choice of
difficulties.
phrase.
Oh Jesus!
Oh wow.
I don't think he had anything to do with that roll.
Wow. You
Okay.
want to re-roll one of those 20s, or I guess
I'm debating if I want to reroll both of them. Because I do.
I'll
have
wait
a
till you re-roll before I
determination
assist.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, GM, would you take precision in every maneuver so I can re-roll those 2?
sure.
I re-rolled the 2 comps. And then I guess the other question is my cautious still on to re-roll the 19?
I mean, yes, technically.
All right, I'll fish.
Really?
Always fish. And then I have 2 bonus again, so I'd like to up the potency of the trait.
Well, it's not a trait.
Oh.
It's an opposed task, so this is a hellacious difficulty you've just set for me.
I was gonna say, I think you kind of just screwed over.
It's difficulty 8. Holy jeez.
I'm sorry.
Can
Me and the GM, I'm sorry.
Can I create a trait to increase the difficulty more with my 2 bonus?
You created a brick wall for him, and then you gave him like a spoon.
I
Okay,
mean,
here you
it's
go.
a difficulty 8. Do you really want to spend it on that? That's
We should
I have
hold on to
I have
hold on
nothing-
to the momentum.
Hold
Well,
the momentum, please.
this is my bonus momentum. So this is
Oh,
my
geez.
discount that
I
I
mean,
Your
the roll's
bonus,
technically not
Don't
done yet. So
Because if you're
just-
mean to him, then he gets to be mean to us. Please don't be mean to the GM.
So wait a minute.
No, that's true. The roll's not done yet, so we should let the GM roll.
Yeah.
Oof.
There are the 20s.
The 2 of them again. I'm so sorry.
420.
Okay, so you gain 5 momentum off the roll, so you have 3 bonus to spend.
Okay.
Man, if
I
this
got
was D&D, y'all be doing great right now.
What if we create a trait that not only do you find us the perfect route into the system, but it's one that leads us to the best hiding place we possibly could find to park the Navajo.
If the GM allows it, I'd say yeah.
No, I got a great trait for us. Not looking for anyone.
I mean, so those were like the 3 destroyers, so they did not even see you on sensors. They're so blind that they're going to actually take some negatives going in, probably into the fight against Artemis and the Tiananmen. So,
Good job.
so I guess you could create the trait that you've created enough subspace distortions during your kind of maneuvering getting into the system that it did add a little extra time, like an extra 12 hours, but you've managed to make a decent time to where any ship trying to detect you entering the system has an increased difficulty of 1. If you spend an extra momentum, you can have that a second potency with the 1 remaining float.
I'll take it.
With that, we're going to change scenes. So you're down to 4 momentum total. With that, you guys enter the system. My question is, during the time, were you having Tolin's crew assist on this, just in case there's an extra surprise there waiting for you going into the system?
Didn't he say they wouldn't be able to make it in time?
Well, that would have been to the Reapers.
Yeah.
No. And here's my reason, out of character reasoning, is that after that stunt Tolan pulled on Lysira Station, my trust level for the Maquis is not very high.
Tolan will request, though, that he has to join if you do manage to be down to the research Ben and Research Station, that he would like to be present for it.
Yeah, the captain will agree to take him, though the captain's thinking in the back of his head, if he tries to pull another stunt like that, he'll shoot him himself, which he was tempted to do in the Lysira Station. And somewhere along the route, very early in the travel to the system, Pro would have notified the Admiral at DS9 that he had tasked the other 2 ships to the Reacher colony and to send available backup.
Oh, the Admiral is at 621. So.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not at DS9.
Sorry.
Just Cisco at Deep Space Nine.
Message went the long way, but I notified the Admiral that I'd ordered the other ships to the Reacher colony, and that requested he send additional backup, knowing that they won't arrive in time.
You won't get a reply from the Admiral, but you will get a reply from his adjunct. She says, notified, and I will inform the Admiral at his earliest convenience.
She'll get a response back that just says, thank you. And Perone in the back of his mind is going, good, the Admiral can't countermand my orders. Then. Bet easier to seek forgiveness than permission sometimes.
Okay, so what are you guys doing as you've gone into the system?
Well, Commander Rye, let's have a look at the system. Let's see what we got in here. Try not to reveal our presence when you take that look.
So passive scans, I'm assuming.
Yeah, at least at first, which won't do us any good of detecting a cloaked D7. But
Yeah. Okay.
if it's not cloaked,
Right. So give me a reason plus science listed by the ship's sensors plus science, difficulty of 3.
I'm going to use a momentum and pop my cautious on that one. And I'll go fishing.
Gone fishing.
you caught one.
I did.
Ship's sensors plus science.
Somebody got that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
All right. So one momentum back. Well, Captain, of the 6 planets in the system, there's only one habitable, and guess where the energy signatures are coming from?
One of the uninhabited moons. No, wait a minute. That can't be right.
Oh, nice try, Captain. Unfortunately, it is the habitable planet Alvaris 3. Getting some energy readings coming from there.
Any energy readings indicative of ships in orbit?
That scan might be a bit less passive.
But what can you extrapolate from the scan you have?
All right, I'm assuming that'll cost a momentum.
Yes, but your science officer role and
True.
you also have studious, so you get to ask one additional question
Hmm.
for your science role, so I can use that for one of your free questions. Can you repeat the question just so I know how to, answer it for you real quick?
Any of those energy I'd asked Ryan to determine if any of those energy signatures were indicative of ships in orbit.
I can't quite tell about the ship yet, Captain, but there does seem to be something emanating from the planet's surface. It seems to be a fusion reactor of some kind, anyway.
Very good. Lieutenant
Debatable.
Vogel, Lieutenant Vogel, how much closer do you think you can get us without being detected?
I will use my Vogel braid and figure that out.
I'm assuming you're still mobile, so I will just tell you. You think you can get to the fourth or fifth planet? One of which is a gas giant.
Very good. Very good.
Sir, there's the fifth planet in the system is it's a gas giant, but it is creating an interference field. I might be able to slip us in there.
Well, to steal another captain's line, make it so. Mr. Solak, do I remember reading something in your file about Vulcan intelligence?
Not specifically Vulcan intelligence, sir, but I do have contacts within Vulcan intelligence. And I am an intelligent individual.
Well, that's never been in doubt.
Thank you. GM out of character. A fusion reactor. Solak would know that such a reactor would be ideally used for an operational facility like the one that we're going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
You already were on an assumption that there was something there, so it's
Mhm.
not out of reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's next? Any more questions or from the science roll, or are you guys wanting to come up with a plan for the next hour on what to do about sneaking to the facility?
You said there's 3 Orion destroyers in orbit of this planet?
No. They left the
okay.
system. Those are the destroyers that they were in the system, but they've left and they're headed towards the Reacher colony.
Right. Okay.
Where the 2 Federation ships are going to intercept them before they reach it there.
Are we able to determine any life signs coming from the station?
That would likely require an active scan, which would make us detectable, potentially.
I will give you this because it's a habitable planet. I mean, you're detecting signs of life signs on the planet in terms for the byproduct of, biology, essentially. Increased methane and stuff like that in the atmosphere. That would only, occur if there are animals on the surface of the planet.
But to determine if there were humanoid life forms on that planet would require an active scan.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. There are signs of life, but to specify, it takes an active scan, not a passive one.
Well, it's starting to feel like we're going to need boots on the ground to ascertain whether or not the captives are there or not. Any disagreement on that? I have a feeling we don't want to just park in orbit with the Navajo.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Are you wanting to try and beam down to the planet or take a runabout in?
That'd be an awful long transporter signal for the... Mr. Vogel, do you think once we get the Navajo part somewhere hidden, you can get a runabout down to the surface undetected.
I think he's mobile right now.
Yeah. I bet Vogel could get a runabout in there undetected.
Well, if anyone could.
All
Vogel
right.
would grab the opportunity to try.
Very well. Commander Burrell, form an away team. Put boots on the ground. Let's have a look. Please don't get caught. Oh, and take Mr. Tolin with you. Don't give him a weapon. Burrell says, "Of course not, Captain. Not unless I absolutely have to." I guess we'll spend the crew support to activate Burrell. And she will say, Commander Solak, Commander Rye, Lieutenant Vogel, up for a field trip.
As always, Commander. Captain, it might be logical or advantageous to bring someone from medical along. There could be injuries.
The captain just looks at the XO and says, "Excellent suggestion." And we'll call down to medical to have someone meet the rest of the away team in Shuttle Bay 2. As the player just picks a number of the Shuttle Bay number out of random.
Out of 3.
Yeah. It would have been funny if we didn't have but the one.
I guess we'll bring Vigo.
That's what I would recommend. He'd be best in this situation.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you suggested as a player because we need someone for our guest star to control.
I can do.
Just
Vigo.
remember, Vigo's sassy.
Oh, he's sassy.
He's a combat medic. You know how it is.
And he's Bajoran.
That too.
Well, that works. So is the XO.
Oh joy. We got a group of resistance, former resistance fighters on the ground with an active resistance fighter on the ground.
They should get along fabulously.
Or there will be a strangulation, one of the two.
Either way, it'll be exciting.
But if there's a strangulation, then I'm laying odds that it's Vogel that does the strangling.
I don't know.
Okay,
Rye does have that temper.
I have the XO, Vigo, Vogel, Rye, and who else?
Solak.
Solak. Okay. Runabout map.
Yay, runabout map.
Woohoo.
So yeah, since you're activate, you have a couple of supporting characters that are being activated. Make sure you guys do the appropriate activations.
Sure, I'll note Vigo there. Now, do we want to add a value for Vigo? He's got 1 value. He's got 2 talents, 1 value, and 3 foci.
Yeah, I'd say a value.
So finicky.
Oh, this is a new activate. This is a new activation for the XO. She comes with a value, so she need one of those. Maybe she needs a new talent.
Joe, what value do you think we should add to this guy?
You said he's a combat medic?
Yep. Right now he's got no one left behind as a value.
I go with the talent, guys. Just GM observation.
Yeah.
GM. All right, never mind. The GM is saying a talent.
I was gonna say either a talent or something like shooting first saves lives, considering he's Bajoran and a combat medic.
I think that the GM is hinting something, so we'll go talent here.
Okay.
What's a talent that we feel that we can go with?
Give me just a second, and I'll flip to that page of the book. God knows I've
Take
had
your
enough time to
time.
get doctors.
Yeah, if you're gonna guest star, you get to help us pick the talent.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's
GM
up?
advice to the side. Does Vigo have a value already?
He
No
does.
one left behind.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's the important thing, is because if he didn't have one, that would be bad for us.
Yeah, the last time we activated him, which was in April, we gave him that value.
What's his current medicine skill at? 4? Okay.
He's got bold medicine right now, and his patient species ability.
Yeah. Well, I would suggest either the straight up combat medic talent or first response.
What's the difference?
Combat medic states when attempting a medicine task during combat, you may pick one trait which increases the difficulty of the task and ignore it. Something like active fire would be a trait in that situation, hindering a medical task. First response says when you attempt first aid during combat, the first die you purchase is free. Further, you may always succeed at cost, with each complication you suffer adding 1 to the difficulty of healing the patient's injuries subsequently.
I like that one personally, but that's just my vote.
First
I
response.
like first response. Yeah.
First response.
You want to add it, or you want me to add it?
I'll leave you to it. If you're already set up, I'd have to go.
I've
click
already got it.
Stuff.
I've already got it up. I got
Go
you.
for it.
You do know, I have all the talents in the item section.
I'm clicking and dragging it over. Yep, I got it. All set.
And I'm going to add bolster to the talent bolster to the XO.
Okay. All right. So you are taking off from the Navajo and headed towards from the gas giant to the third planet. I'm assuming you are doing. I don't know how fast you want to get there. So you could either go at impulse or I guess at warp.
I would think that
We're at a star
traveling
system.
at impulse. Well, yeah, that, and I think a warp jump would probably be more detectable. The player is just guessing, though, so.
All right, I just got home. Give me 1 minute.
Well, thinking back to DS9, they've always used impulse inside of a star system, and the one time it was suggested to go to warp, I think it was Kira suggested making a warp jump inside a system. Whoever was their co-pilot looked at them in absolute shock, like they had grown a second head.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's maneuverability over speed in those cases makes the most sense anyway.
I mean, if you're going to warp and exiting the system, I think going to
It's a
warp
different story.
isn't really that big of an issue, but because you just point in a direction and then go.
But yeah, it's like, let's try to thread this needle going 50 miles an hour. It's just not the same thing.
I mean, you got to think that a system's going to have a lot of cosmic debris that's going to mess with warp. Like you could fly through a rock.
That's what deflectors are for.
Yeah, but there's gravity is an issue, and
Yeah, but
anyway,
we've all seen what happens to buildings and hurricanes, right? Like, yes, there's a factor of deflection, but at the same time, at certain speeds, it don't matter anymore.
And in fairness, it's a runabout, not a full-on starship. It's not going to just eat an asteroid with its deflector shields like
That too.
California did.
But yeah, I am back. I am probably going to impulse until I get closer. Then I'm going to switch to thrusters.
So you go like silent running as you get close to it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we don't want to be seen, and I don't think time is really a factor here, unless it is. Unless you guys think it is. But Vogel's cautious, so I think she would play it safe, do us by the book.
That makes most sense.
I mean, Tola would tell you gotta hit the throttle and just go.
I mean, you could role play it, and I'll tell them to shut the hell up.
Okay.
But do you need me to roll anything?
No, not to impulse as you get in range. You're pretty much in silent running when you get in like close to the planet, so you're gonna be kind of coasting. Which is gonna take several hours, just FYI. Even going at like, the boost speed that you probably got from like an impulse thrust. You gotta think Apollo, the Apollo missions where everything was gravity assist on that. So 3 days to the moon, 3 days back.
Yeah, but impulse is a hell of a lot faster than what they were using.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, you get there plenty of time. It's when you get closer, it's you're gonna slow down a bit because you're coasting. But yeah, I mean,
sorry.
I'm using thrusters when I get close. I'm not coasting. I'm thrustering it.
yes, but even with thrusters, you're not gonna be firing the thrusters. You're running a propellant. So like, there's at some point like you're not gonna keep hitting the gas because then you won't have enough gas to stop. Type deal.
While we're coasting along, quote unquote, coasting along, Vigo's just going to pipe up from the back. Did anyone bring a deck of cards?
I'm sure there is something that you can busy yourself with on the shuttle rather than playing games, Doctor.
Sure. Also, not actually a doctor.
Isn't he a doctor? Oh, I guess he's not. He's just a medic, isn't he? Sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry, just.
Just a medic.
I thought
He'll say he's a lieutenant.
Oh.
He'll say lieutenant instead of doctor.
Right. In that case, I'll just go check through the supplies we have on the runabout. Then I'll hop up and make my way towards the back.
A much more efficient use of your time.
Yes. Efficient for all of the 20 minutes this is going to take.
Okay. As you guys get closer to the planet itself, Vogel, you already have an idea of where you need to sort of kind of land at. Like, you're operating on at least silent running. Like, so operating on sensors is going to be an increased difficulty of 1. So I need you to give me a control plus con, assisted by the runabout's sensors plus con to sort of navigate to a safe spot.
Difficulty?
Difficulty is going to be 3.
I'll roll the shuttle.
I will use 3 of the momentum. I'll re-roll the 19.
And you said sensors plus con?
Yes, from the runabout.
Mhm.
Get 2 back. And you manage to find a nice little spot about 2 kilometers away from the abandoned outpost.
Commander, I found us a nice landing spot. Bringing her in now. Oh, I forgot the untapped. Oh, you get a threat this time.
I guess we're waiting for the first officer to reply here, but
Oh, sorry. Very well.
you managed to land the runabout safely and roughly 2 kilometers from the facility. So, what are you guys wishing to do next?
Well, let's quietly and stealthily approach the facility.
As you exit the runabout, and you begin your hike towards the facility, you actually can almost see it a little bit clearly. There's very little vegetation. The ground is almost like kind of grayish. It feels like you're almost walking on a moon in a way. Um, you could definitely tell this area is seeing volcanic activity repeatedly over time.
Oh, so this is like the garden spot at SETI Alpha 6. Good. So your description of the vegetation leads me to think there's not a lot of ground cover to hide in. Is that accurate?
Correct. A lot of rocks. From like obsidian to, you know, like almost like a grayish dust thing.
How far are we on foot from the facility?
2 kilometers. It's a nice hike uphill.
We could do a scan with our tricorders for humanoid life.
You certainly can.
How close to the facility do we need to be to get those scans?
2 kilometers, we should be able to do a scan within that range.
It won't be accurate, but yeah, you can detect if there's humanoid life signs or not. Like anything like pinpoint wise, you would need to be closer. But you can give me a reason plus medicine or science difficulty of 2.
I can get you. Reason science.
I'll assist with reason medicine.
And yeah, I'll use a momentum. Get cautious just in case. Yeah, here comes.
Right.
Gain 2.
Mm-hmm.
I've added it.
You detect several humanoid figures. It's actually you're getting some slight interference, but you detect several up the hill. Your scans seem to can't penetrate below the rocky surface.
Are we able to tell what kind of humanoids they are?
With the interference, we won't be able to.
Are the life signs stationary or in movement?
Slight movement, but they seem to be stationary. That would be one of the free questions she has.
Oh, life up ahead. Up there. Definitely. Why does it always have to be uphill?
Well, it could be worse. It could be both uphill both ways. At any rate, we'll need to reroute ourselves to avoid their scouts, which is I'm assuming those are, at least until we know better.
Commander, potentially a scan for security systems.
Excellent suggestion. Have at it.
Solok will do a scan for security systems.
I'll give this a you're not detecting any.
Okay. There does not seem to be any detectable security systems that I can see with my tricorder, Commander. Not very typical for a facility of this kind.
Maybe they don't think anyone knows where they are.
Well,
That would be a logical assumption.
also active defenses at that time. It would make them more obvious to anyone passing through the system.
Indeed. Very logical as well.
Mr. Vogel, from the planet's position in orbit around the star, how long do you estimate until local nightfall?
I will figure that out using tricorder. Estimate about 6 hours.
It's a long time to have to wait around if we wanted to try and approach under cover of darkness.
Well, let's see if we can see how close we can get without encountering open space. In the meantime, but we may have to wait till dark. Let's see if we can get closer undetected. Plot us a route around those life signs, though.
I
I think we're on foot. I thought we were on foot at this point.
You are on foot.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
says route instead of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm going to make this just one roll. Whoever wishes to take lead on this. This is going to be a control plus security, difficulty of 4 to get the entire away team up to essentially undetected up to the facility.
My control security is 15.
You got me beat by 1.
I have a 13.
All right.
Could this potentially be a con roll?
No. Reason why is you're actively looking for threats and whatnot as you're moving, so you're moving kind of in a stealthy type infiltration manner.
Okay.
Solok, it looks like you're elected.
All right, just checking something here real quick. So, GM, walking encyclopedia. Do I spend the 2 momentum after I do the roll, or do I spend it now and then gain the focus for this roll?
You spend it now; it's immediate spend. So you spend the
Yeah,
2 momentum immediately to gain an additional focus for the remainder of
yeah.
the session.
I think I'd like to try that. I've never been able to use this talent, so I'm going to do it. And I guess the focus here would be stealth.
I mean infiltration, but yeah.
Stealth and infiltration. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Just it'd be an increased complication range of 1 when you do the roll. Make the roll.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to do it. All right.
Are we
So,
able to assist?
By rules, you only get one. You keep 1 assist. If you wish to have additional assists, you have to spend a momentum per assist.
Oh, okay.
And you said this is a difficulty of what?
4.
Difficulty of 4. All right. I'll buy 1 die with momentum and 2 with threat. And I will roll. There you
That's
go.
my boy. I mean, congratulations. Good job.
You're welcome.
Solok, you are able with your breadth of knowledge of somehow infiltration techniques. You managed to escort.
I read a book. I read a book on infiltration techniques. I remember everything that I've ever read. So
The eidetic memory wins again.
I stayed in the Holiday Inn Express last night. We have apparently cloned Vigo.
Vigo has it.
I see 2 Vigos.
I see 2 Vigos.
There are 2.
Yeah, there's 2 Vigos.
Oh, there he goes.
1 Vigo was
Same
gone.
thing happened to Valen last game.
I'm gonna say the universe cannot handle 2 Vigos.
Funny, I don't remember using the transporter.
But yeah, you make it up to the wall. You see this wall, which stands roughly about 10 meters in height. Appears to be 2 doors. A bit of like almost a tiled type road structure that kind of goes off in the distance and then kind of fades back into like normal ground, and some sort of rail system that goes deep down or further down the side of this almost, I guess, mountainous area, which you only presume at this point was a volcano at some point recently.
Most interesting that the Obsidian Order would use a volcano as their facility.
Really, that makes perfect sense to me.
Indeed, very logical.
Oh, I was going for ironic, but that works too.
Vigo just reaches down, picks up pieces of obsidian off the ground, and hands it to Riot. Makes sense to me.
Exactly.
I was suggesting that they were hiding their facility here in a volcano as a means to hide their activities, making the place difficult to scan. I did not see that the actual presence of obsidian had anything to do with their decision.
We don't have time for the explanation of this. We'll talk about it later.
Did he not read any books on humor?
He has. I've sent him at least 3. We're working on it.
I've read 27 in the past month.
None of them took hold. Got it.
I have a sign, but it's only sarcasm on one side and idiom on the other. I have this like little note card that I carry. It says sarcasm on one side and idiom on the other that I use, but I don't have anything for irony yet.
Commander, in an effort to show these individuals that I have been paying attention to what they offer me, I do not think it's appropriate that we simply walk up and knock on the door.
Well, that would be the most straightforward approach, Commander. I tend to agree with you. That is, to use your own words, logical. And
But I
we're
recommend that we approach and do a scan to see if there is any security on the door.
Oh, I'm
How
thinking
about we
going
take
through
a
the
peek?
front.
Tolan says.
We could do that as well.
What do you think,
I think
Vogel?
go-
You think you can climb that wall? A little boost?
I would prefer somebody else do it.
Because I'm fairly certain going through the front door is probably a mistake.
I mean, if somebody gives me a boost, I can give it a shot.
But let's just scan the thing first.
True.
All right. I will scan the door.
Has Rise token grown a mini me?
I was seeing that as well.
That's because Rye has targeted currently. If you're scanning, I'm assuming you're doing this covertly.
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be an increased difficulty. Reason, what is it? You just scanning the door?
Yeah, scanning the door for security, any way of opening it, determining if it's locked or not, that sort of thing.
How about life signs on the other side of the door while you're scanning?
I was going
Hello?
to do
Those
that
are-
once Solok finished his, so that there wasn't a noticeable boost in the EM signature of the area.
Yeah, it'd be two separate rolls for that.
Mhm.
But for the door, it's reason plus engineering difficulty 3, and for life science, difficulty reason plus medicine or science difficulty 3.
All right, I'll take the momentum and roll 3 die. I don't think I've got a focus here that you're going to take. So I'm just going to roll it. I mean, would infiltration here work as a focus?
Um,
I mean, if I take it, it increases the complication, but
I'll increase complication range on that.
okay.
If you're
So
using that,
with the focus, complication 2?
yes, no complication range 3, because
Dang.
your walking encyclopedia
Your
increases the
appearance.
complication range by 1 whenever time you use that focus. So
Oh, every time I use it, it increases it by
Yep.
so each time I use it, it gets more complicated?
no,
Oh.
it's just
Oh,
an
you added the
increase.
complication plus
added-
mine. Got
yes.
it. Yeah. Got it. Hey, you know what? Screw it. I'll do it. And I don't know why this isn't working. Is that why it's not working? The sheet's being goofy. Yeah, the sheet's not letting me delete anything.
Are you do you have your character popped out of the window?
Yeah, I'm gonna try
Close it
and
and close it
yeah.
and open it up again, but leave it
Yeah.
sunk in. I was having that same problem and I had to
Yep,
figure
that's
that
it.
one out.
That's it. Thank you. All right, so I'll do difficulty 3 with walking encyclopedia, rolling 3 die. And a focus. No. 2 complications. Oh yeah.
Looks clear.
Yeah.
Does that roll stand?
I mean, I don't think that there's anything. I mean, yeah. Well, you know, this was engineering, so I could re-roll one of them because I do have cautious engineering. So I'll try to re-roll one of them. And for the other one, I could try and could I try and succeed at cost?
Well, you have a complication. So
Yeah, yeah.
I will tell you what happens here in a minute.
Okay.
I want to get Vigo's roll out of the way.
All right, you said it was diff 3.
Yes. Because you're doing
Okay.
more of a passive scan.
Take 3 threat for bold. I want 2 dice.
Well, that was a very pretty roll.
You gain a momentum. I will message you what you see. Detect.
Woohoo!
As Solok, as I'm sure Vigo's about to start speaking here in a minute, what he discovers, as you're scanning here, all of a sudden your tricorder beeps and the doors open, and 3 Orion pirates are standing directly in front of you, as both sides look extremely shocked for the brief moment.
Solok looks at them. He gives the Vulcan greeting sign. He says, "Greetings. I am Solok. Would any of you gentlemen be interested in some Girl Scout cookies?"
And with that, I think we're going to enter combat. My question is, we're about usually 14 minutes away from our normal ending time. Do you guys wish to proceed a little bit longer, or I'm also sure Vigo will probably say what he says or found in a second here, but I don't know how much long you guys wish to continue.
Once I stop choking, I'm good to go.
I gotta get Little Man down shortly after our usual stop time, so I don't know if this is gonna drag long. I could stay.
It's probably good if we stop here. If you gotta stop it in 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
got him Little Man on a schedule
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah. So we could probably. This is a good place to stop, I would imagine. She's got to bounce.
That's where I would end the episode too. Girl Scout cookies and credits.
And he does say that. He does say that. I was not joking when that. I mean, I was. He does say that in character.
Oh, that's perfect.
As Volgo says that, I'm sure Vigo will probably say a line real quick, and then we'll end the session.
What are Girl Scout cookies?
With that, I think we'll close the end of the session and let to be continued.